Once upon a time, in a small quiet village, there lived a man named Elias. Elias was not so different from anyone else. He had dreams and goals, just like we all do. But there was one thing about Elias that troubled him deeply: his habits. He wanted to change, to become better, but no matter how hard he tried, his old ways always pulled him back. One day, tired and frustrated, he decided to seek the wisdom of an old philosopher who lived on the edge of the village. The philosopher, a man named Marcus, was known for his deep understanding of human nature. When Elias arrived at his humble home, Marcus was sitting under an old oak tree, reading a book. Elias approached him and said, "I need your help. I want to build good habits, but they never stick. Every time I try, I fail. What am I doing wrong?" Marcus closed his book and smiled. "Habits are like rivers, Elias," he said. "At first they are small and weak, but with time and persistence, they carve deep paths into the earth. The secret is not in the strength of your will, but in the science of small, repeated actions." Elias frowned. "But I try hard. I force myself to do the right things, yet I always fall back into my old ways." Marcus nodded. "That is because you fight the current instead of flowing with it. Let me tell you a story." He leaned back and began. Long ago there was a young warrior who wanted to master the sword. Every day he trained for hours, swinging his blade until his arms ached. But no matter how much he practiced, he never seemed to improve. One day an old master watched him and said, "You swing too hard. The sword is not your enemy, it is your partner. Let it move as it wishes and guide it gently." The young warrior listened. Elias thought about this. "So you're saying I should not rely on willpower alone?" "Exactly," Marcus replied. "Willpower is like a muscle. It tires, but a habit once formed requires no effort. It becomes part of you. The key is to start so small that resistance is weak. If you want to read more, start with 1 page a night. If you want to exercise, begin with 5 minutes a day. The smaller the action, the easier it is to repeat." Elias scratched his head. "But how does this work in the mind?" Marcus smiled again. "Our brains are lazy. They love efficiency. Every time you repeat an action, your brain creates a pathway, like a trail in the forest. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. Soon, it becomes the default path. That is why bad habits are hard to break. They are well-worn trails, but the good news is, you can build new trails." Elias asked. "You will," Marcus said simply. "Failure is part of the process. But here is the secret. Do not judge yourself. Just begin again. Each time you restart, the path becomes a little clearer. Habits are not built in days or weeks. They are built in months and years. The only..." Elias took a deep breath. "So, if I want to change, I must start small, be patient, and never give up?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, and one more thing. Surround yourself with reminders. Place the book where you will see it. Keep your running shoes by the door. The world is full of distractions, so you must make your good habits easier than the bad ones." Elias left that day with a new understanding. He did not try to change everything at once. Instead, he picked one habit: reading. He started with just 1 page every night. Some nights he forgot. Some nights he read more. But he did not scold himself. He simply continued. Months passed. Then years. One day, Elias realized he had read dozens of books. The habit was no longer something he forced. It was something he loved. He had carved a new path in his mind, just as Marcus had said. And so the lesson was clear. Habits are not about force, but about persistence. Start small, Be kind to yourself, and let time do the rest. The river does not rush, yet it shapes mountains. The tree does not hurry, yet it grows strong. So too with habits, slow, steady, and unstoppable. And from that day forward, Elias lived by this wisdom. He built not just one good habit, but many. And in time, he became the man he had always wished to be, not by fighting himself, but by guiding himself, one small step at a time. The end.